On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Denise Taschereau about why the riches are in the niches and when it's best to just say no. Hello there once again, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman. I'm super pumped to be joined today with Denise Taschereau. She's one of the founders of Fairwear. Now, Denise spoke at a conference I was attending at SKUCon and did an awesome job, and I'm so excited to have you here, Denise. Thanks a lot.
All right, I'm glad to be here too.
All right, well, let's jump right into some questions. I mean, one of the things you talked about in your keynote was that, Fairwear has carved out a fantastic niche. Why do you think niches are important?
I think we're in an industry, in the promotional products industry, where literally everyone buys our merchandise. It doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, you're a company, you're a university. The ocean is full of opportunity, and I think it can be overwhelming. And when you're trying to identify, a market or where you're going to start or who your ideal client is, if you don't have a bit of a niche or niche, it's hard to know where to start. It's hard to identify what you want to go with. And I think for me, every person I've met in this industry is either really good at a couple of things or is very passionate about something. And maybe it's, again, university sports. And in my case, it's about sustainability and ethical sourcing. And, focusing on a niche has enabled us to really target core prospects. It makes the job of our reps a lot easier. And probably one of the greatest benefits for us is right out of the gate as a small business, we were able to work beyond our regional borders. And, the promotional distributorships that I know of tend to be regional players till they get much bigger. And we were working across North America literally from day one. And I think that's a function of having such a specialized focus on sustainable products.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you jump right in, so many times you hear, if everybody's your customer, nobody's your customer. And so by being able to narrow that, I could see where that would be extraordinarily helpful. So one of the things that you'd mentioned was by choosing a niche, sometimes you have to say no to business. And that seems counterintuitive to me. So that's got to be hard. How do you do it?
It is. And again, it just comes down to having confidence in what you're good at, knowing who your customer is. And, in fact, I was overhearing one of my account reps who's kind of newer into the role. He's a younger guy in his 20s, and I was overhearing the phone call. And I could tell that the person on the end of the phone was looking for the cheapest mug. They were probably had like one of the big online competitors up on their screen, and they were kind of nickel and diming him. And we've all been there.
For sure.
And to listen to this guy say, we really take a partnership approach. Supply chain is very important to us, and we have a lot of value with our clients around sustainability and understanding the supply chain and the materials. And I'm not sure we're the right fit for you. And just to hear him say that and have the confidence to walk away from a client that was going to push his margins down and probably be kind of high maintenance was delightful as an owner to see. But it is really hard. And I think on a more strategic level, we don't chase the folks that are looking for the cheapest product. And that's enabled us to have a higher than average margin as a company. It's enabled us to build stronger partnerships. And there's nothing as potent as saying no when you're a business owner. And the reaction of the people on the other end of the phone or the other side of the table is kind of startling. It's quite rare for folks to have suppliers say we're not the right fit. And when it happens, I think it gives them sober second thought. And when we've been able to share, probably the best examples for us is we've turned down clients in the oil and gas industry, in the pipeline industry, which is hugely controversial in Canada. When some of our core clients are groups like Greenpeace and the Nature Conservancy and Patagonia and Mountain Equipment Co-op, brands that are our bread and butter. Those are our core brands that we both admire and we're here to serve. to put those relationships at risk for an order with the World Petroleum Congress makes no sense as a brand. So as much as it seems counterintuitive, when we're able to look our clients in the eye and say, we don't work with these folks that you're actively funding environmental groups to work against, it just shows that we're the real deal. We're on side. And I think, again, it goes back to that power of niche. It's like, an example I gave at Common Skew, no one here golfs. And we're really honest about that when clients call and say, we need golf merchandise. And it becomes something where it's just some humility. Like, we don't golf, and can you be the expert in this? And we'll have clients either walk us through exactly what they want because they golf and they're passionate about it and they're pretty excited to be put in the place of expert. Or we've had clients who've said, we're going to get our golf stuff out elsewhere. And that's okay because we're not going to pretend. So I think when you really sit back and think about it, it does make a ton of sense, but it is profoundly counterintuitive to know you're going to say no to a potentially big client. But, for us, it's all about the bigger picture, both as a brand and really as activists in the sustainability movement. We know what we stand for, and it makes it a little easier to say no.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. It's funny, I was having a conversation, Denise, yesterday, and somebody asked me, how do you build trust with potential clients? And the word that springs to mind with what you're saying is authenticity. And I think it's that sort of authenticity and just being totally transparent and honest is a great way to build trust. And if you build trust, that helps you build long-term business relationships for sure.
Yeah.
So final question for you. What are you most proud of in your business life?
It's kind of like every year it shifts a little bit, but I think the two things for me are our team and our culture here at Fairware. We've got a really passionate team. We're all aligned around this vision of making things better through our work in supply chain, and we're fun. We have like the ping pong table and it's the camaraderie here and just that workplace culture. And I think you can never underestimate the importance of a really healthy, strong workplace culture in your own business success. And the other thing that comes to mind is I'm so proud of our client list. Like, we literally have some of the world's coolest companies, in my mind, the brands that I admire and that they trust us, that Patagonia trusts us, or Ben & Jerry's trusts us, or UNICEF USA trusts us. That's probably one of the things I'm most proud of, is these incredible brands that I admire trust us enough to be the guardians of their brand through their merchandise. So that's the stuff that keeps me happy and feeling proud.
Man, you should be proud. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Thank you. You've spent some time with me and answered my questions. Give everybody an opportunity to ask me one. So now it's your chance.
Yeah, well, I found out that you've been doing this for over 2 years, and that you do, one a week. So it's a lot. You've got a lot of content. And I'm curious, what stands out for you in terms of a really unique or cool campaign or product that you heard about in one of your interviews that you're just like, wow, that's so cool. What's one thing that stands out for you?
You mean other than this interview right now?
Right. Is that your common wrap up for all your interviews? You're the best. Right? This has been the best interview.
Yeah, this is the best one. No, it's been great. One of the and I don't know if this answers your question, but I think one of the things that left an impact on me was my interview with actually Danny Rosen and his Band Together nonprofit that he's put together.
Right.
The idea that he has created a nonprofit that really raises money, that really makes an impact, and that he does it in a way, around something he's super passionate about, his music and live music events. I admire the heck out of that. I think that is so cool, because I think all of us really want to know the impact we're going to leave when we're not around anymore. Yeah. And by creating that and being intentional and doing it around something that's fun, I admire the heck out of that. I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just read an article about him last night on that nonprofit, and I was kind of blown away because I always assumed that maybe he was a musician or played in a band when he was younger, and he doesn't know how to play an instrument. He just loves music. He's super passionate about music. It's just funny that you mentioned that, because I literally read an article about him last night. I was like, he's so awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and he the best thing I can say about people like that, people like you mentioned Mark Graham before we got going, and people like Danny Rosen, is they make me want to do better.
Yeah.
And I think that's the highest compliment you can pay to somebody, is that they inspire you to be better.
Yeah, and it's great that we have such a network of those kind of leaders and thought leaders in our industry. It's been really fun to see how we've been able to connect through the industry. So,
well, good
it's
stuff.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Denise, and maybe we'll do this again sometime.
All right. Awesome. Thanks,
right.
Kirby.
Yep. That wraps up another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time. And hey, thanks for watching, but wait, can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done it already, the way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe.